Good morning, students. Good morning, parents, and good morning to the educators, to those of you that are tuned in. Welcome to today's lesson. I'm Mr. Nal Moses, and I will be your presenter for Life Orientation Grade 10. So last week, we've done a question paper to prepare you guys for some upcoming tests and exam questions in the future. So that we have covered last week, Tuesday and Wednesday. So today we will look at another question paper similar to the work that we have covered in the past few weeks. So if you guys have your notes, if you made notes in the previous lessons and you have them, please make sure that you have them with you for this lesson as it will be very helpful. So we're going to go into question 1. Question 1 says, read the case study and then give written answers to the questions that follow. So in one of our lessons, we have done a similar case study about a Rastafarian learner, right? And he was a grade 10 boy, a Rastafarian learner that also committed suicide because of the discrimination that took place at school. So the case study reads as follows. School dreadlocks ban is tested in court. A case before the Equality Court, which involves the right to wear dreadlocks, has put school code of conduct under the spotlight. Grade 10 learner Lerato Muchabi, who attends Navalsig High School in the Free State, was expelled because of her hairstyle. Her father, Lazarus Lowe, took the matter to the Human Rights Commission. Following the HRC's appeal to the school, Muchabi was permitted to return. However, she and her father felt that the issue was still unresolved. In an affidavit before the Equality Court, Muchabi says, I feel humiliated, degraded, and discriminated against because of my religion. It is my wish that our school can be tolerant of other religions, such as the Rastafarians, and remove all rules and regulations that perpetuate stereotypes. A section in the school's code of conduct bans dreadlocks or straight cuts or silly lines or patterns in the hair. This, Mr. Lowe says, is a very insensitive and discriminates against African people, particularly those who practice the Rastafarian religion. His affidavit continues. The school violated the right of my child to education as enshrined in Section 29 of the Constitution. It also unlawfully and intentionally humiliated and discriminated against my daughter on the basis of her religion, content, and belief. Historically, dreadlocks have always been rejected and disliked for no other reason except for the African heritage and Rastafarian affiliation. So this is the case study about a young girl, Lerato Muchabi, and she follows the Rastafarian religion, right? And as we've heard in the case study that she and her father took the matter to court because she was being discriminated at school based on her religion. And also because they constantly had an issue with her dreadlocks, right? So we are going to go over to the questions. So now is the time to have that notes ready. Hope you guys are ready for question 1. Right, question 1. Let me just open the chat so that I can see what you guys are speaking about. Okay, good morning. Once again. Question 1. Why was Lerato Muchabi expelled from school? Why was Lerato Muchabi expelled from school? We already have one answer because they were unfair to her. But why was she expelled? What was the reason that she was expelled from from school. Excuse me, what happened to her at school? Was she in the principal's office? Did she just not attend school? What happened at school that got her to be expelled? Because her hair was against their code of conduct, yes, and she refused to cut off her dreadlocks. They didn't take her religion as serious as theirs, right? Right, question 1.2. How did Lerato feel? So we know that they expected of her to cut off her dreadlocks. We know that they discriminated against her religion. So it is bound to say that she could have felt humiliated, degraded, also discriminated against because of her religion. Yes, she could have felt embarrassed, bad, unwanted. Anyone else that would like to add to question 1.2? Okay, we are moving to question 1.3. Today's lesson, we will only focus on question 1 and question 2, right? Because question 1 and question 2, as you've seen, consist of case studies. So I'm trying to let us focus on the section where there's more case studies and reading so that we'll get that out of the way. And then we can move on to the next section. She felt like she didn't fit in, yes. Question 1.3. In what way was Lerato discriminated against? In what way? I would say because of her religious beliefs, she was treated unfairly and expelled from school. Also because they objected her hairstyle at school, right? And as you know that her dreadlocks, her hairstyle, is an integral part of their religion, right? So that is why she felt so strong about the fact that she is not going to cut off her dreadlocks. Question 1.4. List Lerato's human rights that were violated. You see, in the past few weeks, we've covered human rights. Not too long ago, we dealt with that. So question 1, question 2 for today, human rights, rights and responsibilities. That is our focus for these questions for today. So your notes will be helpful to you if you have them, so that you'll be able to participate and answer the questions with us. A right to a belief and religion, yes? Anyone has something different? Also her freedom of religion, right? As well as a right to education, because she was expelled from school because they discriminated against her religion. So they took away her right to education. I would also say her right to human dignity and her right to equality. So as we have heard in the case study, that she felt unwanted and she felt that at school she was never accepted because she had to do things like cut a dreadlock to fit in with the rest of the school, right? So her right to human dignity and her right to equality were also violated, as well as her freedom of expression. Yes, that is correct. Thank you, Poppy. The last question there, question 1.5. Question 1.5. Give Lerato school advice. How can the school show tolerance and respect towards diversity? Again, diversity we have also covered not too long ago. So you see the importance of taking notes while we are busy with lessons, because now for this lesson, your notes on diversity, discrimination, and human rights is now helpful in this event, right? So give Lerato's school advice how the school show tolerance and respect towards diversity. For example, they should be more tolerant of other religions or other religions, such as the Rastafarian religion. And as we know that Lerato and her family was part of that religion, or that is what they believed, they could support the students, like help support of what they believe in, because people have the right to what they believe in. Anyone that has a different answer, or what type of advice would you give Lerato School? They should remove all rules and regulations that promote discrimination and stereotypes. I think that is a very good one, so that everyone can have the right to freedom of religion when they are at school, right? They can also include diverse people on the SGB or the school governing body team to help set the school rules, right? So if they start with having a diverse SGB team, they can then implement rules that will help the children to feel free at school, right? Also, their benefits to not discriminate. I would also say that they should have interfaith assemblies and invite Rastafarians, or they can invite more learners from diverse religions and cultures. Is there anyone else that would like to share their viewpoint or their type of advice for question 1.5 that would be given to the school before we move on to question 2? If there is no one, we will move on to question 2. Right, we are going on to question 2. These are the answers that we have just discussed now. So you guys can go back and have a look at that. Right. Question 2. These are a lot of answers for question 1 and question 1.5. Right. Question 2. Question 2 has got to do with life roles. As you can see, the heading or the title of this case study is Kanye's Life Roles. Read the case study below and answer the questions that follow. Kanye is a 15-year-old grade 10 learner. Her mother works every day. Her father was killed in an accident when she was 2. Kanye's grandmother lives with him. She is now very old and weak. She needs to be helped and looked after all the time. Kanye's mother cannot stay at home because she will lose her job. They need the money her mother earns. It is now Kanye's responsibility to look after her grandmother. Kanye has to bathe her grandmother and give her medicine. She also has to cook and clean the house. Some days she can leave her grandmother for a few hours, but if her grandmother is having a bad day, she has to stay at home. So Kanye cannot go to school regularly. She asks her friends what has happened in class and tries to do the work on her own. The school wants to expel her. Her mother does not know what to do about the situation. So, as we have discussed, a life role is the position that you find yourself in over the time as you mature. So, Kanye is a 15-year-old learner, right? So, there we already see the life role of Kanye is a student or a learner, right? Also a child and a grandchild. So we are moving on to our questions, and then we'll wrap up today's lesson. So question 2 consists of 4 questions only. Question 2.1. What different life roles is Kanye expected to fill? What different life roles is Kanye expected to fill? What different life roles is Kanye expected to fill? I'm just going to read the case study for you guys one more time, and then we can go over the questions. Please listen carefully. Kanye is a 15-year-old grade 10 learner. Her mother works every day. Her father was killed in an accident when she was 2. Kanye's grandmother lives with him. She is now old and weak. She needs to be helped and looked after all the time. Kanye's mother cannot stay at home because she will lose her job. They need the money her mother earns. It is now Kanye's responsibility to look after her grandmother. Kanye has to bathe the grandmother and give her medicine. She also has to cook and clean the house. Some days she can leave her grandmother for a few hours. But if a grandmother is having a bad day, she has to stay at home. Kanye cannot go to school regularly. She asks her friends what has happened in class and tries to do the work on her own. The school wants to expel her. Her mother does not know what to do about the situation. So question 2.1. What different life roles is Kanye expected to fill? She must look after her grandmother. So she must be an adult to her grandmother now, right? Where she could have gone at school. Because the case study tells us that she has to look after her grandmother, meaning she has to bathe her, give her medicine, she has to cook and clean the house. all this while she could have been at school, right? So Kanye's life role is that of a child, a 15-year-old student, as well as a daughter and a granddaughter. Yes, she's basically doing a life role as an adult as well, yes. Because she has to take care of so many things around her and still also try to focus on her schoolwork. Question 2.2. Do you think these roles are fair or reasonable? Give a reason for your answer. Ben has said her roles are not fair but responsible because she has no choice. She has to take care of her grandmother, and yes, she has to go to school as well. So, is there anyone else that would like to give their opinion or their answer to question 2.2? Do you think these life roles are fair or reasonable? Give a reason for your answer. So a lot of you guys might think that it's fair and others would say that it's not fair. So in the event where you think it is fair, right? So as a teenager, she should help her mother who works every day, right? Because she's the student, her mother is the adult, so she's the teenager and she has to do her chores at home. So in that manner, it could be fair as to what she is doing. But then again, she also has the duty to help care for herself, right? Because she's only a 15-year-old. Then also, if you would say that the roles are unfair, why are the roles unfair? Is there anyone that thinks the roles are unfair? I would say that if the roles are unfair, she's too young to take on such a responsibility of caring for her old and sick grandmother alone in a house while there's no other adult supervision. And also, it is unfair towards her because she needs to attend school every day and focus on her school career. So I see a lot of you guys are saying it is fair, it is right that she is helping her mother, looking after her grandmother. It is not wrong. Thank you so much for the answers. We are going over to our last two questions. Question 2.3. What advice would you give Kanye about school? What advice would you give Kanye about school? I would say that she must talk to her mother and ask her to go to school. Someone Ben says the advice I would give the school is that they should actually consider her situation and try to help her in a way, not just to expel her. Yes, teachers can send home work for her. Her friends can bring her homework. Yes, try to do homeschooling. Well, it could be an option. It could also not be an option because she has to constantly take care of her grandmother. But she can also ask community members whom they trust to help watch her grandmother. For example, when she has to go to school and her mother has to go to work, they can ask someone in the community that they both trust or that's familiar with the grandmother to help watch the grandmother, right? She could ask friends to help her with work, yes. Okay, our last question, and then we will be ending off today's lesson. Question 2.4. How do you think Kanye's relationship with her mother has been affected by the role that Kanye has to play? The relationship might be strained, right? She might also resent her mother because she has to take off her grandmother, and that is not a normal thing to do for a teenager, right? She now has adult responsibilities at the age of 15 years old by having to take care of her grandmother and not being able to support herself and to find herself with regards to her schoolwork and even her identity as a student. Anyone else? Question 2.4. How do you think Kanye's relationship with her mother has been affected by the role that Kanye plays? So how is the relationship affected? So the relationship could be affected because Kanye now has to be the mother, right? And the child, so there's a lot of strain on her. No? Anyone with a different answer? I would also say that Kanye can join a study group and invite them to study at her place so that way she'll be able to care and be present for her grandmother, but also she will be able to be with teenagers her age, helping her with schoolwork, right? So today's lesson, we focused on question 1 and question 2. Question 1 and question 2 consisted both of case studies, and these case studies were based on the lesson content that we have covered in the past few weeks. As you have seen, question 1 was about discrimination and human rights, which we have covered not too long ago. And question 2, we have covered life roles, and as we have seen with the case study about Kanye and her different life roles, that question 2 was focusing on the different life roles, right? If there's any of you guys that would like to ask a question, please feel free to do so now. Please join me every weekday at 9 a.m. for grade 10 life orientation lessons. Also, as you can see, our next topic will be question 3 and 4. And to be able to really be a bright spark and answer question 3 and 4 tomorrow, please go over your notes on sex and HIV. It's a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for your participation as well. So for tomorrow's lesson, question 3 and 4, topics to look at that will help you answer question 3 and 4 is your knowledge on sex and HIV. So please, if you have made notes, go back to your notes, revise, and come back refreshed tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning every day. Please, if you have any school-related queries, please feel free to contact me via email at moseschannel19@gmail.com. Also, please follow us on all social media platforms. at Africa Teen Geeks. Also, you can use the hashtags there. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely day further, and we'll be back tomorrow at 9